I am so excited to share with you today's guest. My goodness, you are in for such a treat. Now, this man is somebody that I've looked up to for the past 5.5 years, and I'm very excited to introduce you to Mr. Hayden Vavra. After a very brief stint in the Arena Football League, Hayden actually returned back to Minneapolis and decided to forego medical school to start a business in the health and wellness profession. Since starting that business, he has positively impacted over 140,000 people across the globe, helping them increase energy, athletic performance, healthy aging, weight loss, and he's also generated an additional income stream and helped others do the same. Now, he's an internationally renowned speaker, and he's one of the company's youngest millionaires, which is so awesome. Hayden is sought after for his raw and authentic guidance, and his training not only inspires, but more importantly, it actually results in inspired action by many. His mission is to help people cast a vision for their lives and create a game plan to achieve their goals. His team has helped more than 50 families create a full-time income, and he's passionate about continuing to help people design their lives all the way from making a bit of extra money to pay for student loans or a car payment, and to even helping those who long to stay at home with their children or retire more comfortably. He believes you deserve more time, more health, more security, more success, more purpose, and to have a ton of fun along the way. I cannot wait for you to hear this episode. Welcome, everyone, Mr. Hayden Vavra. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hot Mess and Blessed. My name is Melissa Hartman, and I am the host of this amazing, incredible, stupendous podcast. You guys may have heard this introduction, but holy cow, I just can't tell you how excited I am to have this person in front of me right now. You can't see him, but he's already smiling, which fires me up. And I am so excited to share the knowledge. And I'm going to tell a little story before he gets started, and I let him riff a little bit. Because I don't know if he truly knows the impact that he's made on me. And so for those of you who don't know, I have done all of the things precisely when it comes to health and wellness, to trying different organizations, to trying different products and things like that. And about 5 years ago, I came across somebody who was part of Hayden's organization. And I said, I don't know what these products are. I'm going to try them, give it a go. And I was really intrigued by the business model. And so Hayden was an incredible impactor in that opportunity for me. And he was actually one of the very first people to send me the book, I think it was the audio version of Go Pro by Eric Worre. And so that truly started this whole personal development journey, and it's something that I am so truly grateful for. So I just want to first off tell you that story and say thank you. I'm pretty sure when I met you at GoPro the other year, I ran up to you and I said, oh my gosh, did you even know you did this? And he just gave me the biggest hug. And so I am so grateful to have you here today, Hayden. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's a huge honor, and I love that story. I remember when you ran up and started sharing that, because I looked and I was like, God, I know her from somewhere. Like, I've seen her before, and I love that can just like get us connected, because that is one of the books that like absolutely changed my life and business. And so I'm the kind of person, if something works for me, I'm going to share it with other people, and that's definitely been one of the most used books and pieces that we like to send out.
That's awesome. So since we have you here, I hope you're okay with us extracting as much goodness from you as we can today. I would just really love to know just some of your backstory. You know, what got you started in the industry that you're in? How did you get to where you are today? Which, by the way, oh my gosh, is just incredible.
Yeah, it's been a journey, for sure. A lot of ups and downs, and trying a few different things, trying to, make it work. But, geez, well, I'll start here. I'm the oldest of seven. I have four sisters, two brothers, and I grew up in a network marketing family, with the intention of like, I will never do that. Um, and the way that it's evolved now, I'm so glad that I am. And it's just absolutely changed the game and made it, I think, such more of a level playing field for everybody. And I love that. And so when I was growing up, what I got to see was like my parents going after goals, which was always very inspiring. They were always like, you can have, do, be whatever you want to be as long as you work for it. You know, stuff isn't just going to show up. You have to work for it. But it was always a very encouraging environment because of the personal development that they had through the books that they were reading, or back then the tapes that they were listening to. I can't tell you how many tapes I listened to growing up, just traveling in the car and going to different stuff with my parents. But that exposure just to the personal development side of everything, I mean, I owe everything to that. I think my first personal development book was when I was 12 or 13, and it was a short little book. And I can't even know the author. I have it in my room. But it's a book called Hung by the Tongue, and just the power of your words and what you're saying and what you're professing, what you're constantly putting out there. And so from a very young age, I was very, conscious and aware of that. And as a result, I was always able to be like the team captain, playing, in all my sports. I played football and basketball in high school. And then I went on to college for football. I had a scholarship. I was like, contract. No, that's not right. A scholarship to play football at a Division II university in St. Paul, Minnesota. And as I was going there, you're trying to figure out what you want to do for a career. I was like, I don't really know. I know I want to help people. So for some reason, I got into math. I love math. And then I got to calculus 3, and I was like, math is not for me. This is not, like, this is not going to happen. And then I took some like accounting, finance classes, and I was like, I just want to know the basics. I don't really want to be like an Excel spreadsheet master, because it's just a few things I need to know. So it took a couple of those classes. And then I found myself thinking a little bit more about it. 2 years into college, pretty much all my electives were done, and took a few different things. And I went pre-med because I wanted to be a doctor so I could help people. And I figured, okay, who helps people and they make a pretty good living? Like, I'll be a doctor. Like, easy, right? No, I was like, why did I do this? So I bet biology, chemistry, all of it while being a full-time athlete as well. Because if any of you have been collegiate athletes and you're listening to this, it's basically a full-time job, and you're on scholarship. They pretty much own you. And I'm glad that I had kind of a lot of that put on my shoulders at a young age, so that I think it's helped me become successful in running and operating a large organization, because I knew how to time block. I knew how to, I don't like to say I manage my time, but I knew how to utilize the time in my day. And so I learned a lot of that. I couldn't tell you anything I learned in biology or chemistry, or anything like that. But I think the work ethic came out of it. So I graduated college. I took my MCAT. I was getting ready to go to medical school, but I also always had this dream of playing professional football. And during the season, I had different scouts come in, and then the NFL went on lockout. So there was nothing going on. I trained my whole life for this. I ended up signing a contract to play arena football out in Utah. And in order to do that, I needed to put on weight. And that's when I was introduced to the company that I'm in. Started taking the products, fell in love with them. They worked really well for me. And long story short, football ended up not working out. This was probably one of the valleys. This is one of the valleys, was coming back and being like, what the heck am I going to do? And this whole time I have this amazing opportunity in front of my face, and I'm like my eyes are just covered. I got my blinders on. And so it was getting ready to go back to medical school, and I started getting hit with my student loan bills, just for undergraduate. And it wasn't a lot looking at the averages now, but it's crazy to think with $2 trillion in student loan debt in America right now. And the average kid, starts off being a net worth of about negative $40,000. It's like,
Yep.
something's broken here. And it really deterred me from going to medical school, getting into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. And then I thought, well, if I do that, I'm not even going to get to start my life until I'm 35 tops. I'm 32 now, and I've been living my life for over 10 years now. And it's, it's been amazing. And so That's when I really like started to pick up on the opportunity. I watched our comp plan video 14 times before it finally like clicked for me. And I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And in the beginning, it was really like, I'm going to work at this gym. I'm going to valet park cars on the weekend to make extra cash. And I'm going to kind of work this in the pockets of my life. And I didn't jump all in right away because I just wanted to make enough to get my products paid for and pay my monthly student loan bills. And within a few months that was happening. And I started to show other people how to do that. And it was like, okay, I can get to here. I can help you get to here. And if I help you get to here, you know, that's going to help me elevate and express some leadership traits and all that. And, you know, we're blessed to have an amazing organization. At the age of 26, hit millionaire, and which is cumulative seven figures. And that was the same year earning 7 figures in 1 year. And since then, the last 6 have earned over 7 figures every single year. And it's been it was not been easy for sure. A lot of hard work, sleeping in basements, sleeping on floors, being 23, 24, 25, not having a lot of influence. But the beautiful thing about this profession is you can, you know, help other people and work through their networks and pipelining, I like to call it, and find those people, because kids my age weren't doing it. So I was like, who's your parents? Can I talk to your parents? I know they're sick of doing what they're doing, or they need more money to pay for you because you're still living at home. So
Yeah.
but that's part of the journey. And I think it didn't really get really serious until going to, Eric Worre is from Minnesota. And it was just when he came out with GoPro, and I had randomly come across him one night in a YouTube like scroll hole. You know, you get in the black hole of YouTube sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was just trying to get better at, you know, network marketing and doing what I do, and like, what's the next step? And came across him is when he started doing his videos, and he had like a little 2-day intensive boot camp teaching about the 90-day game plan. And so I went and implemented it, and everything changed from there. And it was the hardest thing I ever did. But it was the best thing ever. And it helped me just create so many more leaders on the team because they had an example of what to do. And there was like a specific roadmap. And it was like, I always tell people, you treat it like a business, you get paid like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, you get paid like a hobby, and hobbies don't pay well. So
absolutely. And I love the fact that you didn't start off like ready to go full blown into this, because I think that's how a lot of people start this. You know, they look at it as a hobby. They look at it as something just for a little bit extra cash, but then all of a sudden your eyes were opened to see that incredible opportunity. And I love that you decided to go for it. And now you're a millionaire. So that's really amazing.
Well, that's great. And I think one of the things was, like, at the time in my company, there was like all old people like walking across the stage and like, you know, carrying their checks. At the time, that was used to be a big thing, like the big checks and 6-figure earners and stuff. And I'm like, man, if those guys could do it, I could do this. And that's probably my favorite thing about this profession is it's like you always have somebody to relate to, even if they're not on your team, or there's always somebody you can relate to within the profession. And it just gives you that hope of, if they can do it, I can do this too. And I'm just going to figure it out.
Yeah. And you shook things up a little bit. You disrupted that pattern of, you know, the old people with their big checks walking across. So I love that.
Yes.
So I want to know, what is it that you do best? Like, I know there's some people who are great at prospecting. There's some who are killer sellers. What is it that you feel like you absolutely crush on?
Yeah. It's definitely not prospecting and selling. That is something that it's like the first thing I have to do in the day to, you know, like I'm very big on do what is the most hard for you, you know, at the beginning of the day, because everything else falls into place. And it's one of the most important things you can do, but I would not say it's my strength. So then I have to force myself to do it. Like, I have to get in a mode. It's like I got to put this different suit on, you know, to do that, because it's just not in my nature. My nature is being like nurturing, coaching. I can help like pull things out of people. I can help them, like, you know, find that confidence in themselves to do the work that it's going to require for them to reach the goals that they have set for themselves. I really don't set expectations on people that they're not going to set on themselves. but I'm gonna keep pushing them beyond that when I have that permission from them. And so my biggest strength is definitely coaching, teaching, educating, communicating what it is that people need to do to get to their goals, and then seeing them through that. And then something that I've really been working on now the last couple years is not just showing them how to do that, but showing them how to teach and showing them how to duplicate, more importantly. Because
Mm,
there's a lot of people that it's really fun to coach somebody that is, I don't even say coach, like mentor, or help guide or something like that. But that's like great at recruiting and they're just crushing it and bringing people in and in and in and in and in. And then, but then they don't duplicate. So
right.
there's always like everybody's has their strengths and weaknesses. So really, really seeing what those are, and pulling those out of people. And it's like, that's always been my biggest strength, and digging down deep and finding those people, because in this industry, it's not who you know, it's who you're going to meet. And it's just great when those people show up in your organization,
Mm.
and it's like, this is way more fun. But those would definitely be more of my strengths along the lines of that.
Well, and here's the thing that I love that you said. You said that you first off work on your weaknesses in the morning, which I think is really powerful because all of us have a part of our job that we're not loving, or it's the tedious things, the things that we repeat throughout our days that isn't always the most fun, but you're still doing those things. But
Mhm.
I think the fact that you can find that greatness that you're trying to pull out of people a lot of the times can be a little bit more difficult for somebody who maybe hasn't stepped fully into that leadership role, that mentorship role. And so I love that. I think that's truly an incredible skill to have. And I mean, it's just proof with the success that you guys have had. And I love seeing that. So that's just
Yeah.
amazing. Now, I gotta know, do you feel like having parents in this industry in the past, or do you feel like the fact that you were in sports and that you were living a life with coaches and mentors like that, what do you feel has been the biggest benefit?
Ooh, that's a tough one. If I didn't give all of the credit to my parents, I know I would be getting a call from my mom as soon as she heard this, because she always finds everything that I do somehow.
Oh,
And but what with I would say, I mean, it's that upbringing, and I was blessed with some great coaches, and I had some really bad coaches, and just I had guys that I wouldn't even respect as a man, just the way that they live their life, but maybe they're good football coaches, and I would say the upbringing that I had with my parents and being exposed to personal development, reading leadership books by John Maxwell at an early age, like that stuff, it can apply that anywhere in your life, and it should start with yourself, and then trickle to your family, and then into your organizations and your business, and whatever you're doing. But those things are really what set the foundation, of who I am as a person, who I am as a leader, what gave me the confidence to be able to have a voice on the teams I was in, or the companies I was working for, whatever it was. So I would say that, and just by birth order, I'm the oldest, so that kind of helped a little. I had a lot of responsibility on me at an early age. I've changed a lot of diapers. I've babysat many hours. I've done, it's like you kind of get, for those of you that are the oldest in the family, you kind of take on a parenting role from time to time. And so when my parents were at meetings, I was babysitting. Like I got to be the mom and dad. And if I didn't do things right, you better believe my siblings were gonna let my parents know when they got home. So it was,
right.
I had a lot of practice in that kind of environment, upbringing.
I love that. And I'm the oldest too, so I can definitely relate to, being the responsible one. And, we feel like we're the boss, you get that kind of mentality, I think, at a younger age, just when
Mhm.
that starts to happen. So I love that.
Yes.
So I guess my next question, you had mentioned earlier that, when you were leaving football and you kind of transitioned, you had gone through a harder time. What would you say would be your best advice to somebody who may be going through one of those times? I know right now we're recording this, most people are stuck at home.
Yeah.
They may not be working, they may not have that financial stability that they were used to coming in. Maybe there's sickness in the family, whatever the case may be, what advice do you have for somebody who's going through a hard time? And then to top onto that, how can they continue to work their business in a way that's going to keep building it up instead of doing that self-sabotage that could potentially ruin it?
Yeah, gosh, this is such a great question and very deep. We could probably talk for hours and hours about that. I could tell so many stories, and I think the number one most important thing is really digging into your faith. And what I've found in my own personal journey in my own life is when I am not connected to God, and I have like distanced myself a little bit, like that's when stuff starts to go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of the lack of effort that, I've put into building that relationship and gaining that relationship. And so I would say the what's worked for me is really like getting back into that daily routine, getting in my devotions, making sure I'm in prayer, and then after prayer I'm in meditation. Like I really believe like prayer is, is asking and being thankful, and meditation is, sitting and listening for the answers. And that's hard for me. Like meditation is not easy for me. But I know it's important, and everything, you find the answers when you get still enough. And I think right now is a great time for people, especially what's going on, to be still, like, and be okay with that. Like, you have nowhere to go. You don't have other people to see. Like, you may be doing your Zoom calls and running your business and doing all those things, but now more than ever, you could be working 12, 14 hours, because everybody's around. And it's making sure you're setting that intentional time for yourself to look within, to do your devotions, and then to be reading, like still be reading, still be doing your personal development. That was when I would like recognize stuff that would come up in a prayer or meditation, or, something like that. I'm not like, I don't sit there and meditate all day and just like listen. I'm in action, and as a result of that, stuff will come throughout the day, or it'll show up in my life, or it'll show up in the words that I'm repeating to people, or, whatever. You just become a little bit more self-aware, and I would be able to sit and reflect on that and say, okay, like something's not right there. Where can I be resourceful? Find a book, find a audio, find a something, because there's so much free material or very inexpensive material that you can learn from someone else's journey. You can learn from somebody else's wisdom. Like, people dedicate their whole lives to a certain subject that you can get in a book or an audio and read it in a couple hours, listen to it for 30 minutes on their life's work, and what they've dedicated their life to. People that are so passionate about, mindset, belief, working on your belief system, working on whatever it is you're struggling in. Okay, there's somebody out there that has mastered it and perfected it. And there's no other time in the history of the world where we can just be, I always tell people, like, I'm not smart, but I'm just resourceful. Like, I know how to find stuff. Like, if you need an answer, and I'll just say, I don't know. Even if I do know it, I'll say, I don't know, but I'll find out for you and send you the information. And so I would say, when people are going through that stuff, and I've gone through bouts of it when I'm, even now, in the last few years, it's just been like, what do I really want to accomplish? What do I really want to do? And I think a lot of people get down on that and think something's wrong. And it's just a time to sit back and reflect and say, yeah, what do I want? Like, what's the next goal? What's the next step? Because once you start knocking things off of your vision board, or, your list or bucket list or whatever, whatever you use, you start to go, gosh, that was really cool. But like, what's going to be fulfilling for me in my life? Like, how many lives do I want to impact? What kind of impact do I want to make? I try to go on one mission trip a year at least, or a service trip, and do something like that. That has been something that has kept me going and kept me in a place of like gratitude, and being able to work harder so I can give back more, and make a big impact. Because I believe if if you're making a lot of money, you need to have a big why behind it, because everything else becomes really empty, and it's not fun. And you could be sitting in a big mansion and have every car that you ever wanted, and the view that you want, and then you're like, what now? What's next?
Right.
And it's just, and it's unfulfilling. So, again, yeah, sticking into your faith, get a morning routine. Like I find for me, routine has been very good in the morning structure anyways.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, anything else in my day can just show up and I'm like, whatever, bring it on. Like I have my set calls, but if there's open time, I'm just calling other people right now. And I think right now is, when I'm like down in the dumps or like figuring out my life, I found that it's way better when I reach out to other people and try to help someone,
Mm.
see how I can help them. Because it gets me out of my own head of whatever's going on in that moment. So those have been a
Goodness,
few of the things. I
you
don't
are
know. I
so
could just keep
good.
talking.
I know. I think like half the stuff like we just glossed over, but it was seriously so good. Like you said, if you don't know something, and here's one thing that I think a lot of us think that we need to have in network marketing or whatever we're doing. Everybody thinks you got to be an expert, right? And I love
Mhm.
that you said, even when I know the answer, I say, I don't know, but I'm going to find out. And you send a resource. And that is so awesome because in this industry, like you said, we don't have to know everything. You just have to send them
No.
the resources that you have because your company is bound to have endless resources for you to have. And then you said you have to gain that clarity and find something that fulfills you. And so I would love to know how you help get clarity. Like, how have you, like, what ways have you found to really truly help narrow down what it is that you've wanted from your life thus far?
Yeah. A few things. I love like kind of just being alone in nature
Mhm.
sometimes. It's my favorite part about I always go hunting, deer hunting with my family. The boys, it's like a great annual tradition. But I enjoy it because I just get to sit in the tree by myself. And
Mhm.
it's just quiet and it gives me an opportunity to really just write stuff out. Like I think there's so much power in a pen or a pencil and a notepad and just writing and seeing what comes out. And I found that those are the moments where it 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 just comes out. And it's like I'm not judging, I'm not prejudging. It's like making your list. It's like just write down the names. Like whatever names come to your head, write them down. You write them down and you don't prejudge. You don't say they're not going to want this, they're not going to want that. It's the same thing with what we want in our life. It's like whatever is coming out, it's coming out for a reason, and it
Mhm.
could be coming out for a reason for you to scratch it off. I've done that, or whatever, but you don't do that until you write it all out and then you go read it again and look at it from time to time and see what that is. So for me, that's what's worked really well, is just getting out a notepad and writing and sitting and writing. And I find that I do that well when I'm in like either the mountains or by the beach, or if it has to be, I'm just sitting on the couch staring out the window. But I try to take and do that in those moments when I am in the mountains or I am at the beach or I am sitting in the middle of the woods. I found that that's helped me gain a lot of clarity as to what I really want. And the other thing that I've learned just recently is, what's the feedback I'm getting from other people? Like, is there a repetitive theme that keeps coming up? Because that can be something that either they're seeing in me or that I'm not doing and I should be doing.
Mhm.
And that's taken a lot for me to even be at a place to learn that, and recognize that. But that's another way that I found, okay, why am I spending all my time doing back office stuff? And sorry, I created a I've been saving all my energy drinks since I've been quarantined, and I'm
I
gonna
may
make
have
it.
seen the pyramid.
It's way bigger now. I'm scared about how big it's gonna get. Then I just kicked the table and they fell over, but
We'll rebuild that later.
yeah, we'll rebuild that later. Everything can be rebuilt. It's totally fine. I totally lost my train of thought, but um,
You were talking about how you were spending, instead of spending all your time in the back
oh
office.
yeah, yes. So this was the feedback I'd been getting. They're like, why aren't you doing more, small group coaching? Why aren't you doing, individual stuff? And I've found I've had a lot of success with people now, doing individual stuff, holding them accountable, and really digging deep. And I didn't realize I wasn't doing enough of that, or doing it as intentionally as I am now. And as a result, like the business is booming. It's
Wow.
like, wow, like what am I doing? They're like, you used to do that all the time. You're so good at it, you know? And it's like, yeah, I was like, yeah, thank you, like, and, but that's my strengths.
Yeah.
Those are my strengths. And it's like when you're playing at your strengths, when you're working in 80% of your strength zone, I always still work on weaknesses, but if you want to accelerate, work in your strength zone and figure out, either delegate, or find other people on your team that can do that stuff. And that's a great thing about what we do is it's a team effort all the time.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the times, people don't have that belief built in them yet. And so the fact that you can help build that, whether that be working one-on-one or doing coaching, and then they build that confidence over time and then can take it to the next level, like you mentioned before. I think that's
Hmm.
truly powerful.
Oh yeah.
So I guess I don't want to take up too much of your time. I could be on here all day with you asking you a million questions, but I do want to respect your time. I guess one of my last questions would be, I called this podcast Hot Mess and Blessed because I truly feel like there are points in our life where we are just a complete hot mess, or whether that be in one area, whether that be physically, financially, everywhere on every spectrum. But we truly have the opportunity to live a life full of blessings. And even if we don't see it, even when we're a hot mess, we still have so many blessings. So
Hmm.
I would love to know just maybe one of your favorite tips on how that can transition from hot mess to blessed.
Yeah, the easiest one and the most effective one is writing out 5 things you're grateful for. Every morning I do that, and I even, like, in times of stuff's just not feeling right, or you find yourself just being a little bit more negative than normal. Setting reminders and alarms on my phone to say, what are you grateful for right now in this moment? Because there is no fear in gratitude. There is no pain in gratitude. When you're coming from a grateful state, you are vibrating at such a high frequency that it's hard to pull that down. And I think it's just having those reminders of, gosh, what am I truly grateful for in this moment? And sometimes it's literally like, I love my view. I'm so grateful for my computer so I can work from home. I'm so grateful for, my phone battery that lasts 2 hours. It's
Yep.
like little simple things sometimes, or I'm so grateful for my products. I'm so grateful for the workout that I'm doing right now that I thought about doing for 2 hours and it only took a half hour to do, and I should have done it a long time ago. And it's like, just little simple things, but coming out of that place of gratitude, and then calling somebody, like one person a day, and just telling them why you're grateful for them. Number one, like, you're gonna make that person's day, guaranteed. Like, if you think about it, like, if, like, you receiving one of those calls, how it just stops you in your tracks, and you're like, oh my gosh. And it always comes at the perfect moment. It always comes at a moment that somebody needs it. And so if there's somebody that you're thinking of right now, you're listening to right now, write a gratitude text message to them right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do it and just tell them why you're grateful for them. It doesn't have to be a long conversation, anything like that. But like those little things, and spreading gratitude has been what will take you from that, just broken feeling to being blessed, and knowing that we're blessed. I mean, we live in America, like, we're blessed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the bottom line is we're blessed. You woke up today, you're blessed. And that's how I want to live my life every single day. And it doesn't always come easy, but it does take work. And if you're intentional about it, good things are going to happen.
Ah, so good. And we know that we all can pick up the phone right now because I'm pretty sure that person's probably going to answer.
Oh, for sure. I'm calling my mom and dad right after this.
Good.
Like no joke. We're getting on FaceTime, and I gotta say hi.
Yeah.
Tell them I love them.
Hayden, thank you so much for this. I truly appreciate you. Can you tell people what's going on with you, where they can find you and connect with you?
Yeah, connect with me on Instagram, Hayden Vavra. That's it. It's just my first and last name, HaydenVavra. Instagram is probably the best place to connect with me. I'm very bad at Facebook Messenger. I'm on Facebook, but really to run my post and run my business pages,
Yep.
and product pages. So if you want to get hold of me, get on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for today. And I can't wait to keep watching you. And hopefully I'll see you at the next GoPro event.
Absolutely, Melissa. Thank you so much.
Bye.